Hello and welcome to Friday, March the 28th. It's getting there. It's getting there toward the end of the month. So, yes, there's a Ming says too. The Ming says too. I was taking trash out, so I think it's one of those things where I went out the door and she wasn't. When are you coming back? You're like a dog sometimes, sometimes. So, what's new? What's new for the week? Updates. Well, the other day, I got home and there was a package at my door, and I was like, I don't think I ordered anything. Did I order something? And I had to, rack my brain, and then I realized what it was. It's my box to shit in. So, that's exciting. Yay. I haven't done anything with it yet. You know me and how professional of an adult I am. So that'll happen sometime in the next year. I don't know. But yes, it was. Well, it was my first week back at Parks and Rec. Yes, I'm doing the part-time job thing again. Hopefully I'll be better. I've said that for the last 2 years. But yeah, I can't call it a full week because today I was sitting here and I started doing because they go to lunch around noon. So, and then I was scheduled to stay until 1 because I did 9 to 1. That's originally way back when I first started doing Parks and Rec. They basically just kind of threw out, because they were asking me, when do you want to work? And I'm like, when do you need me to work? Like what time, So we kind of came up with this idea, since, I work overnight and I get off at 7 o'clock in the morning. They're like, well, how does 9 to 1 sound? And I'm like, fine, good, because I was like, well, I could come in earlier, blah, 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 stay later, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they're like, no, you need your rest, you need your sleep, blah, blah, blah. So 9 to 1 was just kind of what was decided 3 years ago, because this is my 3rd year with Parks and Rec now, for the season. And so 9 to 1 was just kind of what got started, and there for the longest time it didn't matter because I think even when the new guy who took over started, he didn't make that was kind of something that came along after he was the park supervisor, was he started making everybody go to lunch around noon, and before it was just kind of like they just go to lunch whenever, or when I was out mowing with Charles, he would just work through lunch and then take me home at 1 o'clock and then take his lunch then. It just wasn't a big deal. But I guess Gabe's been noon-ish, because the other day we were out, he got something new to do the ball fields, whatever, and Peter was actually one to speak up and say, for the first thing, everybody's still there, nobody got fired, nobody quit, it's still the same crew that I left in December, which is, new for me. But yeah, Peter was actually the one to mention, because Gabe was talking about us doing another task or whatever, and Peter was like, oh, Jason's going to be leaving here pretty soon, and I looked at because I didn't know what time it was, but I looked and it was about a quarter, I want to say it was 12:17, something, it was basically a quarter afternoon, and so he ended up taking me home early that day, because it was time for them to go to lunch. So I thought to myself, I'm like, why don't I just work, because I've been getting rides home from, regular work at night. So I've been getting here at least by 7:30, I was like, I can do a quick costume change, turn into my Parks and Rec costume, and why don't I just do 8 to noon, and then, that won't become an issue where, Gabe's trying to figure out what to do with me for an hour because everybody else went to lunch, So I started doing 8 to noon, and it got to be a little after, I think it was finally, because all this week, somebody's been coming and picking me up every day, and then today it was it hit 8 o'clock and I hadn't heard from anybody, and then it was like, I might have dozed off a little bit, um, and then it got to be about 8:30, and I'm like, maybe I should message somebody, because it's like I've gotten forgotten before, because they'll be in the middle of a task and they don't think, oh, it's time to go pick up Jason or anything, you know. So it happens, shit happens, whatever, you know. So I messaged Peter, because he's usually the one that comes to pick me up, and he was like, oh, sorry, we just thought about it a couple minutes ago. Riley's on his way to pick you up. So you know, I got up and I kind of watched out the window for about another half hour at least, and I never saw anyone. So then I decided, like, I've been standing here at the window peeking out, you know, every little bit for, you know, half an hour now. I'm just gonna go sit down. I'm just gonna go sit down on the couch. And I was awake for a little bit longer. I was playing on my phone, and every time I thought I heard a motor, I'd get up and I'd go check and make sure that it wasn't, you know, wasn't somebody here to come get me, and it never was. And so eventually, that might have been another half hour, I don't know, while I was sitting here playing on my phone, whatever. Eventually I fell asleep. So if anyone came to get me after that point, I don't know. I was no longer getting up to check the window. So I ended up not working today, Parks and Rec, at all. Oops. But you know, I mean, shit happens. Like I said, you know, Riley could have been on his way to come get me, and he might have got a call from Gabe, like, hey, I need you to come help with this, you know, and he got distracted. He got pulled away for a minute, and then I got forgotten again. Like, I don't know who was doing what, where, when, you know, because I'm the part-timer, you know. I come in a couple hours after everybody's already been there doing stuff, you know, especially if they're, like, in the middle of a heavy task or whatever. Like, they're not thinking, like, oh, it's time to stop and, you know, go pick somebody up. So, like, I mean, I get it, I understand, shit happens, you know. So yeah, I ended up, it wasn't a full week because I ended up missing today. There's supposed to be like maybe doing a special project tomorrow, but then they were talking about canceling it because there's like a 78% chance of rain or something. So I don't know. I mean, I could go. You know, I was kind of thinking about going and doing that anyway, just for, you know, some extra hours, but. Now it would cover the hours that I missed today, because Gabe was saying something about 9 to 1 on Saturday, but I don't know if that's happening because they still hadn't made because they were waiting for someone else to make the decision about whether it was canceled or not, since, you know, it might rain. I don't know. So anyway, that's been that's been the week so far. Marilee and our new theater is new. It's renovated. It was an AMC, and then I think it's a local company, maybe a Midwest company, B&B Theaters. I don't know how far their stretch actually is, but the theater's been closed since last year, I think, since last fall, maybe. I mean, there hasn't really been any movies that I've, like, wanted to go see anyway. But The Woman in the Yard looks pretty creepy. And Marilee was wanting to, you know... I usually go watch horror movies, because, once again, as we've discussed, I'm like a psychopath. And I like to watch horror movies by myself, alone, the latest showing I can find, and then walk home in the dark by myself. Because I have mental issues, you know. But Marilee was saying something about going and seeing that movie... and check it, an excuse to go check out the new theater, basically, because they have like reclining seats, and they have like a regular, like, you can get onion rings. They have like a regular, like, food in there, and a bar. They have a bar in there. You can get, you know, drinks while you watch your movie, and some of the seats down toward the front actually look like little beds, like where you can, like, stretch your legs out and whatever. They have, you know, the reclining heated seats or whatever, and I'm like, I already have trouble I don't usually actually like having trouble staying awake when I'm watching a movie. When I go to the theater, for some reason, I don't. When I'm sitting here on my couch, I mean, in my pajamas, comfortable, I suppose, I'm way more likely to fall asleep watching a movie or watching something. Especially now. Oh my God, that's I like. I'm so far behind. I'm behind on my stories. I'm behind on Gail's videos. I think I finally watched one of them yesterday. I stayed awake long enough to watch one of them, but it's like I've been pretty much getting home. You know, well, in between the two jobs, I was napping, and definitely after I got home, I might be awake for a little bit, watch maybe a show, and maybe eat something, and then I crashed out like all week, So that's the rest. That's my life for the rest of the year. Yay! Until I get laid off again, or maybe for the last time. I don't know. We'll have to see. But because he said something this year, he brought me back with the caveat. I believe that's the word that I'm wanting to use here. He said, if you don't plan on getting your license, he's like, I kind of need people who because he wants to spread people out, doing different tasks and doing different projects and whatever, blah blah blah. And he's like, I need somebody who can drive. So, and I said, I mean, I understand. When I originally signed up for this, or I didn't even apply for this. Like I've said, I applied for a custodial position at the community center, and this is what they ended up calling me for. I guess they was desperate for people at the Parks and Rec, So that's the reason I didn't apply to Parks and Rec, because it said right in the application you needed to have a driver's license. That's why I didn't apply for it, But that's what they ended up calling me with. So, and here I am, what would you consider that, 2-3 years later? I don't know. Because I've done two, and then got, the first year I started in like June and got laid off in January. And then that January later, they called me back. I think it was in April. I think I went back in April, and I worked from April to December. So now technically this is my third year seasonal Parks and Rec employee. So it's gonna be nice to go back to getting paid every week, like for sure. But so that's been my big excitement, since getting home from Hot Springs, and there's a taste test I still need to do I kept forgetting about the taste test from something that I bought in Hot Springs, so I might do that next after this, because I've been asleep and I haven't eaten anything, so I think my palate is fairly fresh, fairly wiped, so maybe I'll do that after I answer. Oops, I don't need that. I think there's some envelopes. After I answer this week's question, non-lame question, there were some envelopes laying underneath this, so I ended up accidentally picking those up with this. All right, so if you could live inside one song, which would it be and why? If I could live inside one song? Well, it wouldn't be one-horned, one-eyed, flying purple people eater. That sounds dangerous and terrifying. If I could live inside one song, which would it be and why? I mean, I could be a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in Plastic. It's fantastic. It's right in the song. It's fantastic. I mean, that sounds fun. Oh, that's the only one off the top of my head. I don't know. Like, I guess it would be interesting. Not Ray Charles. Not Ray Adams. I think he's the guy that owns the car dealership in Kansas City. Ray Stevens. What's the song about, like, the squirrel that gets loose in the church or whatever? Like, I mean, but that's not really a world to live in. That's just kind of a moment to experience, you know, not really, not really a world to live in. Is I don't think it's the streak. They call him the streak. Hey Google. Now my work phone's going off too. What is the Ray Stevens song about the squirrel that gets loose in the church? The Mississippi Squirrel Revival. So there again, a moment to experience, not a lifestyle choice. I mean, really, honestly, I don't know, because it's like, you know, a lot of songs are like love stories or saying goodbye to Earl, you know, what have you. I mean, I guess, you know, in that case, you could go, you know, you could be a regular, you know, person at their stand where they're, what was it, selling Tennessee ham, something like that. So I mean, the only world that I can think of, why am I thinking of a, not Robot Rock. I think there's some Daft Punk song that talks something about some kind of world or something. Oh, around the world. That's around the world. That's the only. I think that's the only lyric in the song. They just say it over and over and over again. Around the world. So that's the world song I'm thinking of. As far as like a world that exists, the only song I can think of at the moment is is the Barbie girl. Is the Barbie world. I mean, I guess you could live in the song that never ends, and then you'd have eternal life, I suppose. That could get, you know... We've seen multiple stories about how, you know, having eternal life is maybe not the best thing ever. At least not in a corporeal form, whatever. I don't... What songs, like, give you a world building? I don't know. Like, most of them are about, like, a moment like this. I've waited a lifetime for a moment like this. A lot of songs are very, like, situational. They don't really, you know, it's not like you're, like, reading, like, a book or something. You know, they don't bring you into Hogwarts. They don't bring you into, what's the, like, Volunteers Tribute, you know, that's or Twilight. You know, they don't bring you into a world, or, you know, very rough sex with the 50 Shades of Grey. Like, you know, like, songs don't. They're more about, like, situations and you know, moments of different stuff. Like Harper Valley PTA. What's that about? There's something, or, you know, it's about being in love with someone or whatever. So that's just like an aspect of an existence, not, like, there again, not, you know, a world to live in, around the world. I mean, honestly, the only song I can think of is Barbie Girl. Like, that's the only one that describes a world. At least that's the only one that's coming to me, and it's fantastic. Like I said, it's already been described to me. I know what I'm getting myself into. I can brush my hair, undress me everywhere, you know. So I guess I'll go with Barbie Girl. That's like the that's the only option I can think of at the moment. So there you go. It's fantastic. What else do you need to know? But yeah, I might do the taste test here in a minute, because I haven't eaten anything. I might be a little hungry, maybe. I don't know. I might just go right back to sleep. Who knows? Oh my god. So, yep, if you saw my videos over the last year, when I was doing a daily question, and just how tired I was on a daily basis. We're getting back to that. We're getting back to that pretty quickly. But yes, anyway, I have a taste test to do and a box to shit in. So I guess I got stuff to do. So have a good week and a weekend, and I shall see you for